Hi, I'm Paul Rouke. I'm the founder and director of Optimisation at PRWD.
And I'm Jeff Andrews, the Digital Acquisition Manager for Kumon Europe and Africa.
Great. So, Jeff, first of all, I'm just interested in for you to give an overview of Kumon as a brand.
Yeah, Kumon's originally from Japan. It's a maths and English supplementary education provider for children, and we've been in the UK about 25 years now. Fantastic. 60 years in Japan.
And what's the kind of reach in terms of countries and kind of children that have kind of gone through the Kumon program?
Yeah, just this year we've got we've opened it in the 50th country in Southeast Asia, Cambodia, and we have about 4.2 million students worldwide.
Right, fantastic, great. So what I'd like to talk about first is around kind of being a customer-centric organisation. So before Kumon and PRWD started working together, how would you feel Kumon were in terms of being a customer-centric kind of organisation?
I mean, I think we tried some market research to get an understanding of our customers and to profile them for our marketing efforts. Within the digital area, we had been working on multivariate tests with PPC, for example.
Yeah.
But the website itself, we were sort of standing on a soapbox and saying to our audience what we wanted them to hear, I think.
Yeah.
So PRWD, took a different approach where we were able to work with yourselves to really understand our customers and what they needed.
Great. Okay. Yeah. And so, kind of one of the core activities in what's been like this big redesign project with yourselves has been around the user research activity, like the one-to-one user research. So, yourself and some of your colleagues, excuse me, came to observe the sessions, kind of watched live. And for yourself, when you were kind of watching these sessions and you were watching your kind of target audience, you know, the parents of children that you'd like to come onto Kumon, what was it? Was there anything that was making you think or realise, because you were kind of seeing this different way of understanding about the brand and your target audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think during the research it became apparent that the costing, the pricing of the courses just clearly wasn't clear for the audience, and it was surprising how confused people were. We were also surprised that users didn't read the text. So we were thinking, well, we've said that, it's in the text, but they hadn't read it, and so they weren't clear. I mean, particularly in our case, because we offer 2 times a week in study centre, it wasn't clear with class opening times, and people really didn't know what we were offering. It was also interesting to see that at a glance, one particular user wasn't clear we were supplementary education. She thought we were a private school, just from the imagery, etc., that we'd used. So it was really interesting to see the areas we'd missed and the questions we weren't answering.
Okay, great. And then, in terms of so the research was primarily on the website itself, but did you feel through the research that there were any, excuse me, any kind of bigger questions or any other bigger areas from Kumon as a brand that the research was starting to kind of uncover, or bigger areas than just the web experience?
Yeah, I mean, the sketching workshop, when your team came down and I gathered stakeholders from across the business, it became apparent. It kind of held a mirror up that we're a franchise network, and we'd accepted that some of our franchisees were disengaged, and perhaps we weren't pushing them to get up to the right standard that we needed. We just accepted that they were disengaged. But I think some of the ideas, particularly from yourself, that came up in that sketching workshop about putting a mirror up to them on the website by showcasing the best centres, it would make all of our franchisees raise the bar. So it's, I mean, I know in your book you talk about business optimisation, but that was definitely an added benefit we weren't expecting at the onset of the project with yourselves.
Yeah, I know. It's something I was heavily involved in, that discovery phase, and when we kind of presented back and we had workshops, having a full section dedicated to kind of like strategic business opportunities, and not just, it wasn't all just about how to make the website better.
Yeah.
It kind of surprised me to a degree in terms of the breadth of what the research and that discovery phase uncovered. So I think, and I was really proud to see how Kumon, as a brand and as a group of senior decision makers, kind of embraced some of these ideas and were open-minded to kind of think bigger, think differently, and kind of tackle things head on.
Yeah, it was a great experience, and as I've been talking through the site and the development, using the tools that you've provided during the project, I've been able to get more buy-in to that concept.
Yeah. So yeah, I was going to ask around the as part of this project when we moved into like the designing and the kind of prototyping, we provided a full prototype almost of the website pre-development. So whilst the development can go on in the background, and how have you been kind of using this prototype with other areas of the business or the wider stakeholders?
Yeah, it's been invaluable. I mean, as I said, we've got multiple factors, multiple stakeholders. We're across Europe and Africa, so we've had to communicate to teams in other countries, as well as internally to the head office team in the UK. And as I mentioned, we're a franchise network, so we're having to communicate to our franchisees, and having that prototype to walk people through the web design and how it works, and functionality that we can demonstrate as users go through the site, with the user journeys that yourselves uncovered. It's been invaluable. I don't think it would have been possible if it was PDFs or other documentation. It would have been too much of a leap of faith for people who didn't really understand the process. But having that prototype being so similar to how a website would work, it allowed them to understand fully how the website is going to look and feel at the end of the day.
Yeah, okay, great. And then in terms of the website itself, a lot of what was being recommended after the discovery phase was not just the kind of rebuild and the re-platform of the site, but actually more content, more investment in kind of richer content, richer media, all which obviously takes investment from a business point of view. How, as a business, how have you kind of taken on the recommendations in terms of that further investment to have like greater degree of assets to use on the website?
Yeah, we've had a great project sponsor on this, who has been fully behind the user-centered approach and rich content. We've just last week, half term, been on a road tour, creating content, meeting families, going to our study centres, filming them in action, doing interviews. We're creating animations to describe the programme, because we're talking within the maths element some quite complex stuff I don't even understand, trigonometry, etc. So we want to make it really simple for parents to understand. And one of the suggestions from yourselves was to use video, and we decided to use animation. So we've invested a lot in the video content for the site, but the content generation itself has been a big project. Luckily, we've had the opportunity to put one person on that project due to family circumstances. She was going to leave the business, but can work at home now solely on this project. So without that, I don't think we'd be hitting the launch date at the end of the year.
Yeah, great. No, it's really fantastic to see just the level of investment that the business has made in different areas with development, with content. So yeah, it really helps to like follow on from that in-depth discovery phase to kind of make sure that it's all being brought to life, rather than just kind of great ideas early on, but then actually not being able to see through it, which can often be the case with redesign. So
yeah, I mean, from the research we discovered people weren't reading the text, and so we've had to start from scratch. Everything is being completely rewritten on all aspects of the site. So it has been a big project, taking up quite a lot of our time, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be, yeah. So, no, just keen to kind of get your thoughts on, you obviously brought us in originally into Kumon. This was a kind of new area of investment. You were looking to redesign, but you were looking to kind of make sure it was done in the right way, with the right foundations, understanding your target audience and things. So you came to PRWD, and I'm just keen to understand the thoughts you had of potentially working with PRWD initially, to how it's actually been as we've been working with you long term, like the kind of, I suppose, perception versus reality maybe of working with PRWD.
Yeah, I mean, we came to PRWD for a web design. We knew that you guys specialised in that area, and highly recommended from colleagues on Twitter, for example. I mean, that's where I found out about PRWD, asking around, and our expectation was the prototype. But I think what we found is PRWD became part of the team. I mean, on a simple level, we were able to. You were very open with the communication with ourselves, and also you pushed back a couple of times on stuff that our brand manager wasn't comfortable with. You pushed back on that, which some agencies wouldn't do. They'd sort of say, "Okay, we'll do what the client wants." But so that was great. We were most impressed with the UCD brand guidelines. That wasn't something we anticipated. We didn't know that was going to come up in the project. And we've been really happy with how smoothly it's all gone.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. And then if you were speaking to someone else now, like in a position like yourself, working at a business, thinking about a big redesign, replatform project, what would be your kind of main advice to them in terms of before they embark and before they start investing or before they start down that project roadmap? What would be the advice you would give them?
I mean, every company is different, but from our experience, with a web design, and from my experience of other web designs, it can internally get very subjective. People like this, or the senior manager likes this, or whatever, and everyone's talking, and a resolution can be difficult. To have experts in and who are gathering the data and making such persuasive arguments that when the final design comes up, nobody can question it. Once you explain the process, what we've been through, and the design itself is great, but that subjectivity has been completely ruled out, and I think that's why the project's gone so smoothly. So any company embarking on a project, I'd definitely have a customer-centric approach, and I'd recommend getting an outside agency like yourselves. It just makes the project easier and easier to justify.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, then just the final thing, is there anything else you'd like to add that you feel you've maybe not covered that'd be kind of relevant to things we've discussed today?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, PRWD has become part of the team and helped with. We've got an internal designer. Scott, one of your designers, has helped her find a UCD course. So we weren't really sure what was a good course, what wasn't a good course, but PRWD, even as I said, as part of the team almost, it helped us to move the team forward. So we appreciated that relationship, and we found that with PRWD, we've been able to make steps forward that I don't think we could have done without you. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, well, just for me to finish off, I'm incredibly proud of you coming to us initially to kind of work with us or to explore working with us, and I think where we've got to so far, pre the actual website going live, I'm hugely excited about the impact it's going to have on Kumon, both nationally and internationally. And thanks to you for being the driving force internally to bring us in. So thank you very much.
Thank you.